They're talking about the NFL from a different perspective. Game recaps, stats, big plays, predictions, and much more. You're listening to the B&E podcast with Ed Donaldson and Brandon Simpson.
What's up, everyone? Another wild week in the NFL, a thriller in London, overtime at Lambeau Field, and a shootout in Detroit. Yeah, we're just getting started here. And did I mention there's only one undefeated team remaining after 4 weeks of play?
Let's get started with the opening drive. Denver's Bronco running back Javonte Williams is out for the season with a torn ACL. At least a dozen NFL players were benched this weekend under the NFL concussion protocols. The NFLPA has fired the independent neurologist who helped clear Tua Tagovailoa against the Bills. And Brett Favre has hired a former White House lawyer, Eric Hirschman, to serve as lead counsel for his defense team with the welfare fraud scandal that's going on in Mississippi. Longtime Ravens cornerback Jimmy Smith has announced his retirement today. All right, so we had our first game across the pond. Hello, Mike. That's my British accent. Sorry, everyone, if that was terrible. But it was a really thrilling game. Vikings won 28-25. Came down to the wire. Greg Joseph hit the game-winning field goal, 24 seconds left, a 47-yarder. And the Saints almost pulled it out and won it with no Jameis Winston, no Mike Thomas, no Alvin Kamara, but I forgot what the hell they call him, the Red Rocket something, Andy Dalton, whatever the hell his nickname is. He almost led him to a win. He drove him down the field. He hit a nice pass to Chris Olave, the rookie receiver, about 32 yards to get him close to field goal position. And the Saints kicker, Will Lutz, he just missed a 61-yarder. If you saw this replay, man, double doink. It bounced off the goalpost twice. And, like, if you would have just – I thought it went in at first. And then the refs did like this. They said the no-go position, and they missed it. But that was, like, one of the craziest missed field goals I've ever seen in my life. Did you get a chance to see it by any chance, Brandon?
Yeah, I did catch it after you had mentioned it to me. Double doink, I remember.
Yeah.
You texted me saying we got to talk about this game for sure. In my perspective, a typical London game, man, slow start, a bit of a defensive battle early on.
Yeah.
I do owe an apology to the Red Rocket. I think, like you said, I think that's his nickname. I can't remember this guy, Andy Dalton. I thought they was making a huge mistake starting him over Taysom Hill, man. I know a lot of people don't believe in Taysom. I think Taysom can get it done, in a backup role, which is what he would have been on Sunday. Yeah. But he still had a solid game. I mean, let's see. He had 5 rushes for 21 yards. He got an end zone on a rushing touchdown there. So, they still was utilizing him the same way. But the fourth quarter really stood out. It was back and forth, bunch of field goals, pair of touchdowns, rushing touchdowns by both teams. And like I said last week, it pays to have a good kicker because, as you mentioned, Will Lutz, he missed that field goal as time expired. It would have forced overtime. Yeah. And could have went in the Saints' favor. As you said, they were very shorthanded there. To think that they went over there basically on a short week, because of all that traveling, the time change and all that stuff, came close to a win. Excuse me. Good for them. So
it was that was a crazy game. I watched most of it, and those Vikings, I think they should have won by more, but they just let them hang around. Both teams had a couple of fourth down conversions. The Vikings, they actually had a fake punt where the punter threw the ball. Apparently, he was like a high school quarterback. He made a nice little throw on 4th and 2 to keep their drive going. But yeah, it was a pretty crazy game. Like you said, the London game, like I think last year the London game went down to the wire too, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember. It might have been a blowout, if I'm not mistaken.
They are typically close.
Yeah, and we'll have the Packers. They'll be going to London next week.
Playing the Giants.
The Giants. That should be well, I don't know if that would be a good game. We'll talk about the Giants a little bit later. But that was sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, as far as looking to that game real quick, both teams. I mean, the Giants won pretty soundly, but the Packers weren't very impressive on Sunday. But we do have that game coming up as well. So
yeah, exactly. So next, I guess we gotta talk about it. We can skip it if you want. I don't really want to talk about these clowns, to be honest with you.
We can skip it because I ain't do much overview, but it's up to you.
But the Cowboys and the Commanders. The Cowboys won 25-10. You know, another typical Washington football game. They are who we thought they were. Clowns. You sent me a damn picture of two Commanders players blocking each other. Man, it's just, oh boy. I mean, just Commanders, man. I at this point, like I said, I'm starting to think maybe they should bench Wentz because he did not have a really good game. He didn't play well. Terry McLaurin, he only had 2 catches once again. He didn't get anything going. Only thing I saw good was the rushing game. We had over 100-yard rushing. I think we had like 90-yard rushing in the first half. The defense did all they could in that first half to keep us in the game. Third quarter, they kept us in the game, but Wentz was just bad. The offensive line he was under pressure the whole day, but he just looked shell-shocked back there. I know he's trying to like hold the ball as long as he can to like get a big play or just make a play, but sometimes you just got to let that thing fly, man. It's like he holds onto the ball, then he makes like a erratic throw or inaccurate throw. And then the team overall, man, this is just, I don't even want to say it, but how the hell we have more penalties than goddamn points? We had 11 to 12 penalties and 10 damn points. I mean, come on, guys. Like, seriously. It was like every other damn third down, it was delay a game, false start. I remember we were driving the ball third quarter. It was still a close game. It was like 7-15 or 7-10, something like that. I think it was 7-15 they scored. And we were driving the ball downfield. We got into like their 20 or 30. And then I think we had like 3 penalties, delay a game, false start, something stupid. And we got to 3rd and 27. And we didn't get of course we didn't convert, but we kicked the field goal to get to 10 points. But it's just like, that was basically how the day went. Something good would happen and then 3 bad things would happen. So, I mean, these clowns, I'm just watching football. I don't even know if I'm gonna start watching the games anymore. I might just turn on NFL Red Zone or Sunday Ticket, DirecTV, and watch something else. I'm getting tired of watching it. If you want to get frustrated, watch the Commanders game. You'll get frustrated. You might get a headache. So, you might want to drink some water, take some Advil or something, because you'll get a headache and frustrated watching these damn clowns play. That's all I really got to say about them. Excuse me.
Y'all took a page out of the Cowboys book with those penalties, man. Usually they double-digit penalties, especially under the McCarthy area. Cooper Rush, I mean, he played a solid game, but to think that the way that they played in the second half against the Giants last week, if y'all came in there and your offensive line held up for giving up 9 sacks last week, and y'all really shut down and y'all really shut down their rushing game. So kudos to y'all. At least, that's one positive you could take from it. Again, 62 yards rushing for the Cowboys. But it was on the Cowboys side of things, again, it was good to see Michael Gallup back out there after the injury he sustained last year. I did talk about Noah Brown in our previous episode, having to contain him. Y'all did, he had a couple big catches I see, but overall, I mean, you're always going to be more critical, just like me with my team.
You being nice. They was trash, Brandon. They had, dude, Trayvon Diggs, they look like fucking Deion Sanders out there. I mean, I don't want to say he shut down McLaurin, but look at McLaurin's stats. He only had 2 catches. I'm like, come on. I mean, it's not looking good, guys. The only good thing I can say going forward is we activated our rookie Brian Robinson from the PUP list, so hopefully he'll be playing next week, rookie running back. And I think Chase Young will be back next week too. That's the only thing I'm really looking forward to right now. This season, I'm about to start putting cut a hole in the brown paper bag and putting it on my damn head watching these clowns play.
It's good to hear some of your guys are coming back, especially one of the captains on the defense, Chase Young. We know what he's capable of doing out there. But I'll end it with this. I mean, y'all did y'all thing against Tony Pollard. I mean, this is a guy that's a lot of Dallas fans want out there more, and 8 carries for 6 yards. So I would take it if on those terms. I'm a defensive guy, so yeah. No,
hats off to the defense. They did not break for the most part. They did their thing. They just couldn't get nothing from the damn offense. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. They might have to. Carson Wentz, I think his seat's getting hot. He might have a couple more games before they want to go to the rookie or put what's his face Heineke back in. But we'll see. I don't know.
Him and the coach.
Yeah.
Rivera too, I think.
Mm-hmm.
His seat, like you said last week, his seat, him and the defensive coordinator,
Yeah, Jack Del
Jack Del
Rio.
Rio.
That's Twitter. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So sticking with teams in the DMV, my Ravens, they gave up another double-digit lead and lost our second game of 2022 and the fifth straight home game dating back to last year. But on a positive note, it was good to see J.K. Dobbins out there. He did his thing, especially early on. He had a rushing touchdown and a passing touchdown. But then, of course, came the bad. We lost Justice Hill to a no contact injury. I mean, even the commentators was like, it looked like I automatically saw it was a bad injury, or at least an injury the way you don't see very many running backs do that stutter step type thing anymore. And that's what he had to do when he looked like a lower leg injury. He was headed to the sidelines on that run anyway. So as for the
Did he
action,
get hurt
say it ain't
last
so.
year?
Yes.
Damn.
Training camp. He was one of the three running backs. J.K. Dobbins, Justice Hill, and Gus the Bus. And of course, Gus the Bus still ain't back. Him and Ronnie Stanley missing in action. Self-inflicted wounds all day Sunday, man. We had a drive in the second quarter. LJ overthrew Mark Andrews. The next play, Andrews drew up a offensive pass interference. And then LJ, he got sacked on third down by Von Miller, which we already knew Von Miller was going to end up getting to LJ at least once based on how the offensive line has been playing.
Yeah.
Later on, delay game on the fourth field goal attempt. We look like the Broncos back in week 2 when they had the delay game on their field
say
goal
something
attempt.
about that. These delayed games. Like I could swear, man. Is it me or is it like they call them delay of game a lot this year? It seems like every game is a delay of game. Maybe I didn't notice it a lot last year, but I swear like at least once every game is a delayed game.
Yeah, I think it's obviously the positioning of the ref. I mean, they're always in the same spot, but I guess it's more so who's calling the game too.
Yeah.
Obviously, they always say that, they say certain refs call certain flags a little bit more, certain infractions and stuff a little bit more than others do. But yeah, it's been a lot of delayed games this year. Like I said, we look like the Broncos early in the year. That's the first thing I thought when we got that damn penalty. But the good thing is we had Justin Tucker, and it only got bumped back to a 51-yarder. He knocked it right through. So it's pretty much straight down the middle.
Yeah.
But then the momentum started to switch into just before 2 minutes, or just inside of 2 minutes, when they drove 76 yards for a touchdown. Of course, we got 2 defensive penalties that helped them out on there. We just assisted them right away down that drive right there. Our opening drive in the second half went nowhere. It was no damn point of us even getting the ball in the second half with that right there. They responded with field goal and a touchdown later in the quarter. And then the fourth quarter, LJ had that tip pass to Poyer right around midfield. I'll take that one because, tip passes do happen. And it was a situation where LJ could have caught it. But of course, the quarterback can't catch that, can't throw the ball to himself legally in the NFL. So he was like running towards it. So he just had to make the tackle real quick. He just couldn't do anything from there. Got the ball back a little bit later. We drove 14 plays, ended with another Poyer interception in the end zone. We just making, Poyer's a great safety. We just making him look even better on Sunday. And then the wasted challenge, man. I thought about you with Ron Rivera when he threw out the challenge flag late. This time, John Harbaugh throws it out when he really didn't need to, because it was 4th and inches, and third and inches. We ended up going for it, and then we lost the timeout. So it was just a waste of damn challenge, which came back to haunt us later in the game. Buffalo got a roughing the passer on Josh Allen. Brandon Stevens they sent the safety on the blitz, and all I thought about was Tom Brady when Tom used to get sacked and he just point to the quarterback or look over. I mean, point to the ref or look over to him and he got the call. Because when he sacked him, he was laying on the ground for about a second. Then you saw Josh Allen point his finger to the refs and he was saying something. Next thing you know, you see the red hanky flag come in there. I'm like, oh my God. But overall, I mean, job well done to the Bills. Back in my mind, I thought they was going to win. They're the better team. We did kind of give them the game, but at the end they got the W. So, but man, this guy Matt Milano, man, we let him look like Ray Lewis out there, man. I was like, every time I turn around, number 58 was in the backfield. He was coming after LJ. He was catching LJ in the middle of the field. And this guy was all over the damn place. And then, of course, I don't know if you heard, Marcus Peters and John Harbaugh got into it. They said they had to hold them both back. And then Harbaugh came out today and said he hopes he still loves him, man. I don't think Marcus
Right.
Peters the one to mess with, man. If you want to mess with one of the corners, you mess with Marlon Humphrey, because Marlon Humphrey's the real quiet guy. He's big into his religion and all that stuff, but I don't know. However, I got a little lucky. It might have been like him and Mike Vrabel when he was standing up on top of him, basically. So yeah. Then of course we got Cincinnati next week, and I'm just gonna leave it at there because we already know what they about to do to us, and it's in prime time. We know we don't play good in prime time. Yeah, go ahead, give me your thoughts.
I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I saw the score was 20-3. A little bit of time left in the second quarter, and I was just thinking to myself, I don't know. I just have a feeling the Ravens are gonna lose this game, and I didn't get to see much of the second half, but I saw that the score kept changing for the Bills, and you guys were just stuck on 20 the whole time. I did see some plays. It looked like the effects of the hurricane.
Yeah,
because you guys was a little bit of ugly weather. I know the Jags Eagles game has some ugly weather.
true.
I think a lot of the East Coast games has some remnants or effects of that hurricane. But yeah, man, I don't know. I just wanted to ask you, what did you think of that play call to go for it on fourth down? You think they should have kicked the field goal? Like, me, I always say y'all got Justin Tucker, just take the down points. But I kind of see in that situation, well, if they do score a touchdown, then they'd be put the game away, basically. How did you feel about that?
At that point, I was like, take the points.
Yeah.
It's always it's like a situational type thing with me. But at that point, it was tied, and I felt like we should have taken the points. And of course, came back to haunt us. But then I thought about, who was it? Week 2, we played Miami. I believe we was tied, and we went for the field goal in that game. And then they drove for the touchdown and won the game. I think we should have taken the points at that point. Not that our defense was going to stop them, but I will say this: a lot of our players was on Twitter last night and this morning saying, "Hey, we agree with the call." Especially the defenders. I believe Marlon Humphrey was the main one I saw. He was like, "I agree with the call to go for it. It's our job as a defense to stop them."
Yeah.
But ranked number 32 right now, we ain't stopping no damn body. So
damn, y'all ranked last, huh? Y'all worse
30,
than us?
Yeah, 32 against the pass, and it equals up to 32 overall. I think the run defense were just outside the top 10, I think, but it didn't help the overall rankings. It sucks. It really do.
I know you ain't thinking too highly of the D coordinator right now. He's probably getting hot. I mean, y'all still over 500, so I guess he's good for now, but y'all keep losing, especially giving up big leads. I wonder if that D coordinator spot, even though it is his first year, I wonder if y'all will make a change or just stick it out with him for a year.
I think Harbaugh is going to stick it out with him because of the Michigan ties with his brother. I don't think he want to make that change during the season, but if it keeps going like this, he's definitely on the hot seat. I wanted Anthony Weaver. I think I texted this to you yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, but Anthony Weaver was our old defensive lineman. He became a D-line coach as well. And there was some talks of him taking over for Wink Martindale when Wink left to go to the Giants. So, if it was to happen in the future, I would still want Anthony Weaver at this point myself.
Gotcha.
Turning the page now, Green Bay, they were given a run for their money yesterday at Lambeau Field. The Packers prevailed in overtime to send the Patriots back to Foxborough at 1-3. What did you see from this contest?
First of all, I want to give a little shout out to Aaron Rodgers because he threw his 499th and 500th career passing touchdowns in that game. This includes the playoffs, but he threw for the big 500, joins the 500 club. I think it's only like him, Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Brett Favre, and Peyton Manning. I think they're only members in that club. Yeah. So shout out to him for that. But man, this is a ugly win. I don't know how the Packers are gonna do going forward when they gotta face teams and their defense can't stop the other team's offense. Right now, that defense is getting the job done, but Patriots were down to their third string rookie quarterback, Bailey Zapp, after Brian Hoyer had to go out. And he came in and he played pretty well for a third string rookie considered. He played pretty well, but Patriots, they were just going to run the ball, and Packers really couldn't do anything about it. Ramondre Stevenson had a good game running the ball. But the Packers, they were making mistakes too. Their rookie wide receiver, Christian Watson, I know he fumbled early in the game. He kind of made up for it, but it was a sloppy game, but kind of like the Commanders. But Aaron Rodgers and Carson Wentz, they're not even the same damn league at this point. I need to stop talking about the Commanders. That just makes me upset. But yeah, they got it to overtime, and Mason Crosby kicked the game-winning field goal for him. But yeah, third string rookie quarterback. I saw him go in the game. I was like, okay, I think the Packers should be okay from here. But I'm like, what the hell? I'm looking at the score. It was like 24-17 Patriots. I'm like, wait, hold on. What? No way. Yep. They cannot do this. There's no way they about to lose this damn game. So I tried to turn the game on, but it's weird because I was watching, thank you, salute to you for the Direct TV Sunday Ticket. The game was showing at first, and I clicked off of it for a second because I think with the timeout or something. Then I looked back at it again and said it was blacked out. So I was like, what the hell is going on?
It's real sensitive, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. I just thought that was weird. But yeah, ugly one for the Packers and Patriots. They're 1-3 now. This is the last time they were 1-3. I think I saw something on Twitter about this. Like, was it 2001 and 2018? And I think they won a Super Bowl both those years, or got to a Super Bowl. So yeah, I highly doubt that shit happens this year.
Same.
Highly doubt it.
Same.
So we'll see. Crazy stuff has happened. What did you think about this game, though?
Yeah, a whole different quarterback, as we all knew during that time frame. Both those, yeah. But this New England coaching staff, they really impressed me because they always seem to have their guys ready to play. We all know what Bill Belichick is capable of doing. I mean, a lot of people, I'm sure yourself included, had Green Bay easily winning at home. Late game, Mac Jones, the starter, was out. And then you get into the game, Brian Hoyer goes out, and then you get a rookie in there on the road against that defense with that crowd. And he played a solid game. But he really had no help around him besides the running game. Like you said, they have no threat at wide receiver. But for Green Bay, I mean, they kind of got lucky in overtime. I know Tony Romo on the call was like, he kept pointing out how far off the corners were playing from the receivers. And A-Rod just kept throwing to that left side. And most of the time it was Dobbs there. I know one of my good buddies was mentioning how Dobbs, he thinks this is going to start to emerge as the number one receiver, if not 1A behind Allen Lazard. And he definitely showed his that he's capable of doing that. And Lazard, speaking to him, he had one big catch after another yesterday. So on Sunday, so kudos to him for stepping up. But yeah, I remember seeing, I guess it was after the game or this morning, I remember seeing online that Aaron Rodgers was like, we can't consistently win this way. So again, he's calling out the offense basically because the defense held its own and has all season. But, we see, like you mentioned, Christian Watson, he had the fumble or whatever. Nobody's, besides Dobbs and Randall Cobb yesterday and Allen Lazard, but still they're not playing consistent in a sense. So they really got to step it up on offense. But overall, Green Bay, we know they have the tendency of starting slow each season and they just start winning. And they're not winning the way that they normally do, blowing people out. Of course, we know about the loss of Devontae Adams, but they're winning games. So we'll see how they do. The division is kind of looking good in there. They still kind of, they don't have the tiebreaker right now against Minnesota. Of course, they got one more game, so we'll see how that goes. But we all know the Bears ain't really doing much, and the Lions are up and down. But they are improved. So we'll see how we'll see how this division goes moving forward.
I do want to shout out the running game too. Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon. They play really well too.
Very much, I see.
Yeah. So let's get to the next game. The Eagles and the Jaguars. The Eagles beat the Jaguars 29-21. I don't know if you predicted the Jaguars win, but I know I had them going in for upset. Okay. Yeah. So we both predicted that the Eagles would lose this game. And starting out the first quarter, it looked like that was the case because they got a 14-point lead in the first quarter. Jalen Hurts threw a pick six and Trevor Lawrence threw a touchdown. But then after that, the second quarter came around and the Eagles just flipped the switch and put it on. They scored 20 points in the second quarter alone. And Trevor Lawrence probably had his worst day as a professional because he had 5 turnovers. He had 1 interception and he lost 4 fumbles. I want to say maybe some of those fumbles were due to the weather, but I got to give it up to that Eagles defense because they didn't do much after that first quarter. They scored again in the fourth quarter, But the Eagles defense, man, they I don't know if they're the best defense in the league, but they certainly up there. They did not
Definitely.
allow anything from the Jaguars going until that touchdown late in the fourth quarter. And Jalen Hurts, I was like, okay, what they gonna do now? They were down 14 zip. How they gonna play? How's Jalen Hurts gonna look playing from behind? And he really had no issues. I saw him making some nice QB draws near the goal line, got a touchdown. He got a nice little lick for his one touchdown effort. But he did his thing. Eagles really look for real. They're 4-0. I'm not looking forward to playing them again. I think they got they don't have the Cowboys next, do they? Let me check real quick. Who these clowns got next? I can't call them clowns. They have the Cardinals next. And I'm gonna say they can beat the Cardinals.
True.
But yeah, the Eagles, shout out to them, man. What did you think about this game?
Yeah, it was like a rainforest out there. You took a lot of my thoughts, but that's one thing for sure. You talk about the East Coast games early in the show. There, East Rutherford, New York with the Giants game, and of course in Baltimore. But when I was looking back and watching these games, they had the most pouring down rain. And like you said, the weather, I think it really had an impact on Trevor Lawrence and company. Yeah. Again, long day for him. He was under duress a lot, 4 sacks from this Eagles defense. Again, you talked about how good that defense is, but on offense, they did what they do best, 210 yards on the ground. It's like that 200 number I think about with this Eagles offense is what they averaged on the ground most of last year and a few of these games this year. Kind of revenge game for Doug Peterson, didn't go in his favor. I would have loved to see what it would have looked like in perfect conditions. But of course, weather is a part of, the game. The elements are a part of the game. But in the end, the league's #1 ranked offense got it done. So Eagles remain the only undefeated team in the National Football League after 4 weeks.
And they look legit. They look for
Definitely.
real.
Definitely.
All right, so let's take a look at some other scores around the league. We had the Chargers beat the Texans 34-24 to improve to 2-2. The Titans improved to 2-2. They beat the Colts 24-17. Jets beat the Steelers in Zach Wilson's debut 24-20. And Mitch Trubisky, he got benched for Kenny Pickett, who came in and had 2 rushing touchdowns, but it wasn't enough. Falcons beat the Browns 23-20. The Seahawks beat the Lions 48-45. That game had 12 total touchdowns. It seems like every game the Lions are in is a shootout. God damn. Cardinals beat the Panthers 26-16. That game was an ugly one for Baker Mayfield. The fans started booing him. He said he don't care, but yeah, we'll see. Chiefs beat the Buccaneers in Sunday Night Football 41-31. The Bengals handled the Dolphins their first loss in the Thursday night game last week 27-15. The Giants beat the Bears, improved to 3-1. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think they're the weakest 3-1 team around.
Especially
no
on
offense to
offense.
Giants. Yeah, exactly. Shout out to Saquon. He's a leader rusher so far, but I don't know. Giants, we'll see. And the Raiders, they got their first win of the season against the Broncos, 32-23. Brandon, did any of these games stand out to you, man?
It's a couple. The Raiders getting their first win. It's about damn time. Like Freddie Mitchell used to say for the Eagles back in the day. It's about damn time. All this damn talent, y'all just now winning week 4. Okay. Looking over to the Jets and the Steelers game, I've been calling on Kenny Pickett to start from day one. I said Mike Tomlin, the worst decision of his career was to start Mitch Trubisky over Kenny Pickett. And I didn't watch much college football, but we all know what Mitch Trubisky did in Chicago. Yeah, he got that 1 or 2 years up in Buffalo under Brian Daboll and sitting behind Josh Allen. But clearly we see it ain't help. Okay. So it was good to see him though start the rookie, bring him in at halftime. Yeah. After halftime, third quarter at home, as opposed to on the road because they go to Buffalo next week. That's another thing. I think the Steelers are winless at home since they haven't won a game at home. And I think part of it has to do with when they changed the name of the stadium. I don't know what it's called now, but ever since they ain't been Heinz Field, they ain't won a game there in the regular season, if I'm not mistaken. So they might have to change the name back at this rate.
Something. I think their wide receiver, Deontay Johnson, they asked him after the game, he was like, yeah, this is a rebuilding season. So we'll see how this is. I wonder if they're going to have Tomlin on the hot seat or not. I wouldn't get rid of him, but You never
Same
know.
here. Same here.
For me, I was looking at the Jet Steelers game too, just because I wanted to see how Zach Wilson would look out there.
Yeah.
And I was pleasantly surprised to see Kenny Pickett come in and do his thing. So I wonder how he'll look going forward. I don't think he'll be. I think he'll give them a spark, but I don't know if it'll be enough to
Same. It'll be better
improve
than
all their deficiencies
be
they
better than
have right
Trubisky
now.
though.
Yeah, and Mason Rudolph, I guess he just the backup. Somebody get hurt, maybe you go back in, maybe Trubisky, but you just the backup. The other game I was looking at, I was paying attention to the Cardinals Panthers game. So I just wanted to see if I thought the Cardinals were gonna win, but the game was kind of close. I was like, man, if y'all lose to the damn Panthers and Baker Mayfield, it's definitely going to raise some alarms in Arizona. And they lucky they improved to 2-2. It wasn't a pretty game. Now they are dealing with D Hop, he's still suspended. They had some injuries going into that game and in the game as well. But yeah, good thing they won that game. They ain't getting booed like the Panthers. I think the Broncos are getting booed a little bit too, just because of their decision making and stuff. But Cardinals Panthers game, Jets Steelers game. And I was keeping an eye on the Seahawks Lion game to see how much they was run up the score. Interesting week so far.
That was my third game. That Seahawks Lions game you mentioned seems like every game for the Lions has been a shootout. Yeah. This team has been playing hard this year. I still don't trust Jared Goff, but I mean they're playing pretty good. So there's hope. There's finally some hope in Detroit, despite the fact of a 1-3 start. They were in most of their games so far this year. All right, it's time for some player awards. We're going to start with the offensive ace of the week. Houston, we have a problem, and it was Austin Eckler, 13 carries, 60 yards, but 2 rushing touchdowns. He didn't have the yardage, I know everyone, but dual threat, 6 catches, 49 yards, and a receiving touchdown. He powered the Chargers to a big win in Houston and almost outscored the Houston Texans by himself. They had 24 points for the Texans, and he had 21 himself.
Thank God I got him on my fantasy team. I was like, hallelujah. Thank you, Lord, because he ain't do shit the first 3 weeks. I was like, please, Austin, please do something. He answered my prayer. Thank you, buddy. My offensive player of the week, I'm going to give some love to the Seahawks and Gino Smith. He went 23 of 30 for 320 yards, and he had 2 touchdowns passing, and he also had a touchdown rushing, and he had 7 rushes for how many yards he have? He had 49 yards rushing and a touchdown. So Geno Smith, salute to you, man. You've been playing pretty well, and your Seahawks are 2-2, same record as the Denver Broncos. I wonder if Russ is peeking over to see how his old team is doing. But yeah, that's my offensive player of the week.
All right, defender of the week, I'm going to stay in Baltimore, but on the other side of the field, Buffalo linebacker Matt Milano. I mentioned him earlier in the show. He was all over the place, 13 total tackles, 11 of those were on his own, 2 tackles for loss. Number 58 for the Bills looked like the old 52 for the Ravens. Damn shame. Who you got?
Yeah, that was he did do his thing. I'm gonna go with Rashawn Gary of the Packers.
Okay.
Yeah, he had I think he had 4 total tackles and 2 sacks, and he forced a fumble too. And I'm pretty sure that one of the sacks he had was like a clutch one to make sure the Patriots got off the field. So I'm gonna go with Rashawn Gary of the Packers, edge rusher.
Let's show some love to the special teams unit. My special teamer of the week is Young-Ho Koo, the Atlanta kicker. He had 3 field goals, including the game winner, and a pair of extra points, one of the best in the league. I think he's very underrated as well because the Atlanta team is not very, let's just say they're not very good and haven't been for a while. Who do you got?
You probably won't like this one, but I'm going to go with Tyler Bass, the Bills kicker. He was also 3-3, and he hit the game winner as well, even though it was like a damn extra point. But he scored 11 points. Oh, 11 points. That's one more point than the command. Oh, sorry. I bring that shit up. Oh, Lord. But yeah, Tyler Bass, Bills kicker. That's my special team player of the week.
All right, everyone. We've been scratching our heads all this year, especially with both of our teams
Yeah.
the way they start. But we're going to single it down to one call or play of the week. My bonehead call of the week is my head coach, John Harbaugh, going forward on 4th down from the 2-yard line with 4 minutes and 9 seconds left. Tied ball game. We talked about it earlier. LJ threw a pick in the corner of the end zone to Poyer. Ed, you always talk about how, we have a great kicker, but we never used them.
Yeah.
Well, your point was proven again. Who do you got? Bonehead call or play of the week?
I was gonna give it to the Commanders defenders. He blocked a field goal, and he looked back, I guess, to see like who was following him or chasing him or whatever, and he picked the ball up, and then he I guess he got tackled, but everybody around him was like, pitch the ball, and like he got up to celebrate, and the team was like, what the hell? Like one of the guys like got in his face, is like, why you pitching the ball? But he was still hyped up from blocking it. But that's not my bone play away. I'm gonna give the Commanders a break. I'm gonna give the DK Metcalf. He had to get carted off the field, not due to an injury, but because he was having some stomach issues and needed to use the bathroom. Yeah. He even tweeted it out. He was like, yeah, the clench walk, like clenching your butt cheeks together, it wasn't gonna work. So I guess he would have shit himself on the field, which would have been even worse. But yeah, DK Metcalf, salute to you, man. You the bonehead. You got my bonehead player of the week. Now let's look into this Monday night football game we got. We got the Rams versus the 49ers. I'm going to give it to the Rams right now. I know the 49ers lately, in the regular season, have had the Rams number, Jimmy Garoppolo, but the 49ers haven't looked too good. Garoppolo hasn't looked like the guy who got them to the playoffs last year. He looks like the guy that they wanted to replace Trey Lance for. I don't know. I think the Rams, the Jalen Ramsey, Aaron Donald, those guys, Leonard Floyd will contain the Niners. I think Cooper Kupp and Matt Stafford and Allen Robinson, Higbee, those guys will get going. Hopefully the Rams can run a ball with Cam Akers and Darrell Henderson, but I just don't think the Niners will do it. Of course, they're going to prove me wrong, like usually when I make the damn predictions. But that's how I'm going. I'm going with the Rams right now. What about you, man?
I got to agree. I think, if I'm not mistaken, the 49ers are coming off a loss against Denver, 11-10, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Was that their last game? Yeah.
Yep.
So you lose to the Broncos this
Sunday
year,
night.
I think. Yeah. If you lose to the Broncos this year, I think I'm not too confident in you.
Damn, that's how you feel about the Broncos?
Have you seen how they've been like this?
I mean, I
Did
hear
you call
you.
it? What? How do you say the coach's name again?
Hackett.
There you go.
Nathaniel Hackett.
You lose to that damn clown of a coach. Okay. I got mad respect for Russell Wilson, but if you lose to them, I'm not confident in you. Again, I agree with you. I think that Jalen Ramsey, Aaron Donald, and those boys will be ready to go to shine in prime time. Like you said, the 49ers have had the Rams' number in the regular season, but I believe that the Rams will go. I mean, they're right in the same state. All they have to do is take a trolley or a train down there to San Francisco, to Santa Clara, and go in there into Levi Stadium and walk out with a win. So I have the Rams on Monday Night Football.
Yeah, we'll see what happens, folks. We will see what happens.
Yep. All right, everyone. Looking ahead to Week 5, it's going to start with Indianapolis at Denver on Prime Video, Thursday Night Football. New York at Green Bay. That's going to be the London game. Pittsburgh at Buffalo. Los Angeles at Cleveland. Chicago and Minnesota in the NFC North battle. Detroit at New England. Seattle at New Orleans. Miami at the Jets, a battle of the AFC East. Atlanta at Tampa Bay in the NFC South. Tennessee will travel to Washington to take on Ed's Commanders. Houston at Jacksonville in the AFC South. San Fran at Carolina. Dallas at the Rams. Philadelphia at Arizona for the Cardinals. Cincinnati at Baltimore. God help us. And Las Vegas at Kansas City will cap off Week 5 from Arrowhead Stadium on Monday Night Football. I know it's going to be a long night for Baltimore next week. I really don't want to stay up and watch this game because I always get disappointed. We don't play well in prime time. We've been torched by defenses all year. Yeah. And we all know what the hell they did to us last year. I think twice they finished over 400 yards passing, and Chase and Boyd and Higgins, they've been, besides Chase for last year, that was rookie year. The other ones have been running all over our defense for years. So
I
I
bet
think
get some
that
pressure on Burrow.
yeah, I think it's pressure from our defense. Okay, yeah, picture that. But I will be up early for this New York Green Bay game. Of course, I have love for New York and I have love for Aaron Rodgers. So I want to see how they how both of these teams do traveling long distance over the pond there.
Yeah.
And I want to see this Houston-Jacksonville game. Again, I've been big on Jacksonville all year. I got to see how they rebound when they head back home. Houston has been close in most of their games this year. So I think they're getting close to getting their first win of the season.
That Cincinnati Baltimore game, I'm gonna definitely watch that one. Cowboys Rams, that's probably America's game of the week. Let's see, Steelers Bills, look at that one. It's interesting you mentioned that Texans Jaguars. As soon as you said that, I was like, that's probably a trap game for the Jaguars. They better be careful. They might go down 2-3. They flick around. Yeah, I'm gonna watch that Giants Packers game too. It's crazy because I woke up this Sunday at 6:29. I remember I didn't set an alarm enough. I just randomly woke up. I checked the clock. It was 6:29. I just turned the TV on, and the game started a few minutes later. So maybe I'll have that luck again, and I can wake up early, naturally at 6:30. We'll see.
All right, everyone. So that's gonna wrap it up for this week's episode of the B&E podcast. Bunch of good games again for week 5. We have another week where everyone is on the slate as we look forward to the start of bye weeks in the following week. Enjoy week 5, everyone.
Falcons, can y'all please throw the down ball to Kyle Pitts? Please, I'm begging you. Just throw the ball to Kyle Pitts, please. All right, y'all, peace.
Mr. Fantasy expert there.
Yeah.
Later.
No damn expert.
You've been listening to the latest episode of the B&E podcast. Follow us on Twitter at podcastbne.